Hey everyone, a few months ago, Xiaomi released the Mi Note 10. It was one of the first phones out there to have a 108 megapixel sensor, and it has a truly excellent set of cameras. That said, the high launch price combined with the mid-range chipset was a bit hard to swallow for a lot of people. So now, Xiaomi has released the Mi Note 10 Lite. It has pretty much the same specs, but with a few cuts in the camera department. But now that some time has passed, the original Mi Note 10 is a bit cheaper. So does it make sense to buy this new phone? I'm Angie for GS Marina, and this is our review of the Mi Note 10 Lite. If you've ever seen the OG Mi Note 10 before, the Note 10 Lite might give you a sense of deja vu. The back is a little different, and you'll see 4 cameras instead of 5. It also no longer wobbles when placed on a flat surface. Apart from that, however, the two phones are identical in terms of looks. The Note 10 Lite is a very comfortable hold despite the thick profile. There is an anorexic earpiece above the notch, an IR blaster on the top of the phone, nicely clicky buttons on the sides, and the same amount of bezels. The glossy finish of our unit is in midnight black, which is more shades of blue and gray if we're honest, but hey, it's still beautiful. Also, while it collects fingerprints, they aren't that noticeable most of the time. Like before, there's no mention of an IP rating, and the Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and back curve towards the aluminum frame. Even the gorgeous display on the front is the same one as before. Speaking of which, the almost 6.5-inch AMOLED has a full HD resolution and a pixel density of 398 ppi. It supports HDR10 as well. The screen got respectably bright, with 424 nits in manual mode and around 600 nits in adaptive mode. As far as colors are concerned, whites lean towards blue, but if you adjust things with the color wheel, you can gain some extra accuracy. On the bottom half of the display, you'll find an optical fingerprint reader. If you want to unlock the phone, it's more than fast enough, but if you keep your finger on it a little longer, a set of shortcuts also appears. You can customize it too and change the unlock animation. At 204 grams, it's not the lightest phone around, but it's not surprising because the battery is a massive 5,260 mAh. It got an excellent 117 hours of endurance, which beats out a lot of competition. As far as charging goes, there's a 30-watt charger in the box, which gets you from flat to 100 in an hour and 14 minutes, or from 0 to 53% in half an hour. Like in other Mi Notes, there's no wireless charging on this phone. There's something else you'll find though, a headphone jack. The Note 10 Lite also has an FM radio, so you can really take advantage of the wired life. Sadly, this phone has a single downward-facing speaker instead of a stereo setup. It had average loudness, which didn't impress us, but had pretty good sound quality that nicely balanced lively vocals and even had some bass. The Mi Note 10 Lite has a Snapdragon 730G chipset, which offers a middle-of-the-road performance. It's pretty solid in terms of day-to-day use, and you'll also find no thermal throttling here. The Note 10 Lite sports MIUI 11 on top of Android 10. It has a flat and simple design that's been nicely polished over the years and is comfortable to use. Personally, I really like MIUI, and after using MIUI 10 for a couple of months, I really missed it when I switched over to a new phone. For the most part, there are plenty of customization options, from changing up the always-on display to new themes. The phone can take advantage of its curved edges and have them flash whenever you get notifications. You can even enable an app drawer, unlike in some previous versions of the UI. Out of the box, the phone uses navigation buttons, but you can switch to gestures, which are a lot more comfortable and save space. Now, like I said in the beginning, the cameras are where you'll notice the biggest difference between the regular Note 10 and the Note 10 Lite. Xiaomi has completely gotten rid of the telephotos here, which is a bit of a shame because they could have kept at least one of them. The ultrawide is also a lower resolution and now lacks autofocus. Instead, here you have a 64 megapixel main sensor with an f1.9 aperture, an 8 megapixel ultrawide camera, a 2 megapixel macro lens, and a 5 megapixel depth sensor. In daylight, photos turned out really good. They had nice detail, a wide dynamic range, low noise, and good colors. The AI mode produced more contrasty and colorful images, but we found that they were too oversaturated for our taste. If you switch to the full 64 megapixel resolution, you can get some more detail from the scene, and there's no reduced dynamic range or increased noise, which is something we've come to expect from other camera setups. If you want to zoom in, it'll be a digital one. While images aren't as sharp as they would be from a telecam, they're alright. The ultra-wide camera took good images during the day despite the low resolution. Detail was good and colors were nice, though warmer than the main cameras. Dynamic range was a little reduced, but not overly so. In low light, we weren't impressed. Images out of the main camera were soft, especially in darker areas. Colors were well preserved and dynamic range is good, but underexposure was quite common. Night mode lifted the shadows nicely and revealed more detail. Highlights were better preserved too. We did notice an orange cast whenever there were warmer lights though. Since zoomed photos are from the main camera at night, they can be usable, but you should know that you can see some heavy sharpening even without zooming in. The ultra-wide camera really struggles in low light, producing underexposed dark scenes and soft images. Portrait mode worked quite well on the Note 10 Lite. Skin tones are nice, exposure prioritizes faces, and edge detection worked nicely for the most part. It works well for non-human subjects too. The macro camera allowed for some decent close-ups, but while it's nice that it can autofocus, the 2 megapixels of resolution don't allow for all that much detail. The Mi Note 10 Lite can record videos up to 4K at 30 FPS. Footage is high quality with plenty of detail and natural-looking processing. Contrast is a bit high, and we would have preferred a lighter exposure. Stabilization worked very well and footage looks smooth even at 2x zoom. Full HD videos look more aggressively sharpened, though they also retained a good level of detail. Dynamic range, colors, and exposure are the same as in 4K. Footage from the ultra-wide camera had a narrower dynamic range and slightly more saturated colors. Detail was decent, though here we would have also liked a brighter exposure. Selfies came out alright and nicely exposed faces. Colors are a bit off and there's a slightly artificially sharpened look. Selfie portraits had good subject separation, though we found that HDR for them worked rather inconsistently. Sometimes it didn't work at all, and other times it kicked in. Unsurprisingly, the Mi Note 10 Lite is a really good phone, just like the original Mi Note 10. It has a fantastic screen, great battery life, and a feature-rich UI. In terms of competition at its price, this is one of the best options you can get. But if you can shell out some extra money, you can get the Mi Note 10 for not that much more, and that's a significantly better camera experience. In the end, we recommend both phones, but the choice is up to you and what you value more, a better camera experience or the savings you'll be getting. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below, subscribe, hit the bell icon, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.